ready.
All right. So let's call the meeting to order. This is the Business and Governance Committee meeting. And I'd like to welcome our two new members, Paul and Sarah. And my name is Bobby Spoon, Roberta
Thank you.
Spoon.
Good to
I'm
be
the
here.
chair of this committee. I've been on the board for 4 years, so I'm starting my second term. I have been on this committee for all 4 years, and I've also been on the audit committee for 4 years. And I'm the new chair of this committee. So that's my background. Paul, would you like to give us a little introduction?
Yeah, I work with fire, been with them about 10 years, married with 3 daughters, and I'm excited to be here and work with all of you. As I've gotten to know the team, everyone's so nice, and I'm just excited to participate. And I appreciate all the help and the push towards education. Again, just happy to be here.
That's great. Thank you. And Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Mann. I am with the Department of Finance. Been with the city for about 22 years. This is my first chance to serve on the board, so I'm really excited to be here and to learn some more about SDCERS. So excited to start.
We're very happy to have you both. We enjoyed your predecessors. Both very, very competent people, but we are very fortunate that you two have decided to step up. And I admire you, Paul, that you're willing to take this on at the beginning of fire season.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's go. We have one other committee member that's not joining us today. His name is Paul Kaufman, and he's not here today. Let me give you just a little overview of how we do this. When we talk about the action items, we need a motion and a second. So before you make a motion or a second, please give your names, because we're on Zoom, and that helps Cynthia for the minutes to record who's made the motions. And then she will call the roll. So when we're meeting live, we have an electronic system that we can vote while we're at the board table. But since we're doing this by Zoom, we all vote orally, and Cynthia calls the roll, or calls the vote. So that is it. So Cynthia, do we have any public comment today?
We have no public comment, and Bobby, for the record, I'm going to go ahead and call roll.
Call the roll.
So Ms. Spoon.
Here.
Mr. Hallquist.
Present.
Mr. Lotes.
Here.
Ms. Mann.
Here.
And Paul Kaufman is absent today. Okay.
Right. So we're going to, thank you, Cynthia, for that. Mm-hmm. I skipped that on the notes that Greg made for me. So now I'm moving to the yellow highlighting, Greg, for the action item, which means that Marcel will have a presentation.
Good morning. Thank you, Bobby. This is Marcel Boers-Rossman. I'm the Deputy CEO here. And before you is the recommendation to apply the COLA for fiscal year 22. All 3 of our plan sponsors have in their plan documents, either in the municipal code for the city of San Diego and for the airport and the port in their plan documents, a formula on how to calculate the cost of living adjustment that is effective July 1st of each year for all of our retirees, which includes our active drop members, retired drop members, disabled, and service retirement members. That is done by Chiron, our outside actuary, and they present the report that you also have in your materials for today. The maximum the cost of living adjustment can be is 2%. If it turns out that the actual cost of living adjustment based on the calculations is greater than 2%, that excess goes into members' banks. If it is less than 2%, they have the ability to draw from those banks. So this is a little bit of an unusual year. The calculation is 1.4% So it means anyone who retired from July 1st of 2020 to 6/30 of 21 would get the 1.4%. For the rest of our retirees, they have the ability to pull from their banks. So you see that there are actually 4 different tiers of COLA adjustments this year. And those members who retired prior to 05 would receive the full 2%, the 1.4%, and then they'll pull 0.6 from their bank. That's about 28% of our members. Between July 1st, 05 and June 30th, 17 will be 1.8. That's about 56% of our members. July of 17 through June of 20 is 1.7, about 12% of our members. And then, as I said, those members who've retired in the last year would be 1.4, and that's about 4% of our members. That will be effective, as we said, July 1st, 2021. It automatically happens through IRIS, our pension system, to be effective on the payment that all of our members receive on July 31st, 2021. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions? No? Then let's move. Do I need a motion?
Yeah,
Greg, yes.
my first and a second.
This is Charlie. I make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second? I need somebody to speak up with a second.
This is Sarah Mann. I'll second.
Great. Let's call the vote.
Ms. Boone,
Yes.
Mr. Hallquist,
Aye.
Mr. Lodes,
Aye.
Ms. Mann.
Aye.
All votes are in, and the motion passes 4-0.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Moving on, recommendation to direct staff to issue a request for an RFP for investment counsel. Johnny?
Good morning, Bobby, and good morning, board members. It's good to see you all. So before you, staff's recommendation to allow staff to issue an RFP for investment counsel, to interview those top candidates, and then come back to the next public board meeting with a recommendation. As you can guess, SDCERS retains outside counsel to help us with the negotiations of contracts for investment matters. Those agreements with our current firms have expired. So consistent with the board's contracting policy, and also just as a best practice, staff is recommending that we issue an RFP to make sure that we get competitive bids, take a fresh look at what is out there, make sure that we're paying the right amount for the best services we can obtain. If the board adopts this recommendation, staff is ready to issue that RFP tomorrow, which will be posted on our website, which will be advertised in the National Publication of Pensions and Investments, as well as advertised on the National Association of Public Pension Attorneys website, and Caliper is the state agency, the State Association for Public Pension. So, any questions?
I have a question, Johnny.
Yeah.
There's a footnote. It's on page 6, footnote number 2, regarding fee negotiations.
Yes.
I don't know if I understand that footnote. Is that after you've selected counsel, that then you can negotiate for fees?
No, what we like to do is we want the law firms to give us their best bid in writing, but we want to note that we can accept that or we can negotiate those fees. And so it kind of protects us that this is their response, it's an offer, we can accept that as is, or if we want to negotiate, we can change that. But we would like the full 5-year commitment so we can lock in our fees, budget accordingly, et cetera.
And does that occur after you've selected them or before?
It generally occurs after the board has given us direction for what law firm to choose, but before finalization of the contract.
I see.
So it depends on where we are in the negotiations, Bobby.
I got it.
Good question, though. Thank you.
So will someone make a motion? Do I have them first?
This is Charlie. I'll make the motion.
Okay. This is Sarah. I'll second.
Great. Cynthia?
We are ready to vote. Ms. Spoon,
Yes.
Mr. Hallquist,
Aye.
Mr. Lodes,
Aye.
Ms. Mahon.
Aye.
All votes are in, and the motion passes 4-0.
Great, thank you. Moving on, Johnny, you're still up.
Thank you. Before you is staff's recommendation to amend the contracting policy and delegation of authority to execute contracts and other documents. This document is the board's delegation of authority to staff as well as the board with regards to entering contracts and executing other documents. So it's a very important policy governance document. Staff routinely reviews this with the board to make sure it's what the board wants and that we're up to date. And that's what we've done this time around. My cover memo that I provided with the recommended changes provides highlights of what staff is recommending. But to highlight those, what staff is recommending is that we, one, allow a variety of competitive bidding processes. Right now, it just says you should do an RFP or an RFI. I think the circumstances could call for different types of competitive bidding, so we'd like that flexibility for both the board and staff. And secondly, we wanted to make clear and understand exactly what the board wants to take control of and what staff can. Specifically, that staff is allowed to retain legal services, attorneys to help us with matters that aren't in front of a court or in front of a regulatory body. And secondly, we wanted to make clear that we understand the board wants to choose who the custodial bank is, but not necessarily the banking services because of the contract value of that relationship. Do you have any questions about the recommended changes?
I don't have any questions. It's certainly a very, very important document, and thank you very much for your work on it. I'd like to make the motion, so I'll make a motion. Do I hear a second?
Paul Oates, second.
Thank you. Cynthia, will you call the vote?
Ms. Boone,
Yes.
Mr. Hallquist,
Aye.
Mr. Lodes,
Aye.
Ms. Mahon.
Aye.
All votes are in, and the motion passes 4-0.
Great, thank you. Cynthia, Queen, you're next. Staff's recommendation to amend Rule 6.5.
Thank you, Bobby. It's nice to see you, and good morning, everyone. The municipal code allows firefighters in one tier to participate in DROP, the Deferred Retirement Option Plan. And they're able to use specific accrued leave time to extend their drop period if they submit a request to SDCERS in advance of the end of their original 5-year drop period. In 2018, the city updated their leave policy to comply with tax regulations, and as part of that, SDCERS added language to Board Rule 6.50 intended to make sure that documents were received timely. Earlier this year, my team and I researched this issue and determined that the narrow timing requirement of the board rule was not working as intended. So we worked with the city to revise the timing, which has no effect on the tax compliance. And we therefore recommend that this minor language change to this board rule be approved to facilitate processing for all parties involved. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion?
Paul Oates, motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Charlie, I'll second.
Great, thank you. Cynthia, will you call the vote?
Ms. Boone,
Yes.
Mr. Hallquist,
Aye.
Mr. Lodes,
Aye.
Ms. Mahon.
Aye.
All votes are in. The motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on to number 5, staff's recommendation to amend the whistleblower policy. Johnny, it's my understanding these are really just textual changes,
That's correct.
nothing substantive.
Nothing substantive.
Okay, great. So I'll make the motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Charlie,
Sarah
second.
second.
Cynthia, will you call the vote?
Ms. Boone,
Yes.
Mr. Hallquist,
Aye.
Mr. Lotz,
Aye.
Ms. Mann,
Aye.
all votes are in. Motion passes 4-0.
All right, moving to number 6, staff's recommendation to amend Rule 2.9, the mortality tables and the assumptions for determining actuarial equivalence and other benefits. My reading of this is it's simply to change the rule to say we'll use the most current information. Is that right?
That's correct, Bobby.
Okay. All right, great. Do I have a motion?
Charlie moves to approve.
All right, and a second?
Paul Oates, second.
Sir.
Cynthia, call the vote?
Ms. Spoon,
Yes.
Mr. Hallquist,
Aye.
Mr. Lotz,
Aye.
Ms. Mann,
Aye.
all votes are in, and the motion passes 4-0.
That's great. That was good work, everybody. We're done with the action items. Now, in the tradition of this committee, we all assume that everyone's read all of the reports that are prepared by staff. So we have very few oral reports that we hear each meeting. And this week, we're going to hear reports from Cynthia on member services, from Marcel for benefits, and from David Bond on IT. So, Cynthia, you want to get us started?
Thank you very much. Well, I'm sure you all agree that it's interesting how the pandemic changed things. Before the shutdown, our call center received an average of 100 phone calls per day from our members, and we received some requests that were sent via an email setup that we have on our website we refer to as Contact Us. We would get a few of those emails. This year, we still answer 100 phone calls a day, and now we also answer about 50 of these Contact Us requests each day that come in from the website and the member portal, and that's a great way for our call center to respond to the questions of our members. Now, our office is still closed to the public, so we have 0 walk-in customers, and we used to have a good number. So this has caused an increase in the phone calls and emails, naturally. So our call wait time, as you saw in the report, is closer to 60 seconds, and that shows that we need more resources in this area because of how things have changed. We've made great progress in the past several years as the call center's workload has increased, and in April, we are so pleased that we were able to create and hire a call center lead position. As you read, Surema Valenzuela has been promoted to this call center lead, and she is doing a great job. We also welcome Maria Reyna to the call center. Excuse me. Maria comes to us from the City of San Diego's Risk Management Department, and we're going to have another person joining us soon, and then we will have a full team, which will be amazing. And the timing is just great as we are gearing up for the increased volume we always see in June with the city's retiree health open enrollment process going on. So thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
That was great, Cynthia. Good work. Marcel.
Good morning again.
Prop B.
Okay. Well, let me talk a little bit about another piece, and then I'll talk about Prop B as well. So you just voted on Board Rule 2.90, and the reason we had to make changes to that is because of the experience study that was completed based on the June 30, 2019 valuation that was used in the preparation of the June 30, 2020 valuation, which impacts how we calculate benefits as of July 1st, 2021. So that board rule summarized some of the changes that have to happen. The annuity factors change because of the changes in the assumptions. That impacts how we calculate optional benefits, so options 1 through 4 in the benefit calculations. The annuity rate for the surviving spouse annuity, for the cost of living annuity, for our death benefits. It also impacts the purchase of service credit tool that calculates the cost of a purchase of service credit for our members. And what is most visible to our members is their member contribution rates. So all of those things change as a result of the change in our assumptions. Those have now been updated in our board rules. They are set to be updated in IRIS, our pension system, and we anticipate all of that happening timely so that effective July 1st, we will have all of that in place. All three of our plan sponsors have been notified of the new member rates, and those are effective for the first full pay period in July. So our members won't actually see those new contribution rates till the end of July in that paycheck. And then the last thing that this impacted, of course, is the plan sponsor contributions that we will receive on July 1st of 2021. That's the update on how the experience study impacts what we do for fiscal year 22. Prop B, give a quick update there. Prop B continues to move along. So again, SDCERS was not a party to the litigation, and we are not a party to the negotiations. We have been working closely with the city and the stakeholders to provide information. Again, we are not the ones making the decision on how to implement the unwinding of Prop B, but we are most definitely providing information on how that would work over here at SDCERS. So I've been participating in the city team meetings on this. My understanding is that the city at this point is very close to opening negotiations with the represented organizations, with the 6 employee unions, to determine how they will unwind Prop B. We have an internal team here that is ready and raring to go as soon as we have information from the city on how to unwind. We have a team ready to start the work over here. And so we're on board, we're prepared, Chiron is ready for anything that they may have to do, and then we anticipate coming back to you all as a board with some funding decisions once we get further down the road and know what exactly this is going to look like. Happy to answer questions on either of those two things or anything else in my board report.
Do you have any estimate on timing?
I do not have an estimate on timing right now, Bobby. My understanding is that the city has opened negotiations with POA, the Police Officers Association, and with Local 911, which is the lifeguard union. But to my knowledge, I haven't heard yet, but I don't believe they've opened negotiations yet with MEA, Local 145, the firefighters union, DCAA for deputy city attorneys, or Local 127, which is the other general member union. So they haven't even opened those negotiations yet. So we'll have to go through the negotiations, and then once they finish that, then we'll be able to go forward. The actual putting members in the system is the easy part of this. They come across on a transmittal just the same way that our current member information comes across. Our system is programmed to set up their account, get them established. The transmittal provides us all the information we need to be able to do that. So we're prepared. We just don't have a timing on it right now.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
You're
David.
welcome.
I'm
Good
anxious
morning.
to hear from you.
Yes, good to see you all, and welcome to our new committee members. In addition to my written report, and in light of the latest cybersecurity attacks in the news, and with our new committee members, I want to revisit an item I reported on in March about the network penetration test that was recently completed. At the direction of the audit committee, SDCERS contracted with White Hat, our current website penetration test vendor, to perform a penetration test of our entire network, the SDCERS.org network. This effort was separate and distinct from the security audit performed by RSM. White Hat partnered with a company called TrueVantis to perform the penetration test on all systems and devices connected to the network. White Hat TrueVantis performed both internal and external penetration tests using automated tools and their team of skilled ethical hackers. White Hat found very few vulnerabilities, reporting, and then I quote, "They had great difficulty finding exploitable vulnerabilities, and this environment is pretty locked down." So that was all very good news. White Hat and TrueVantis pen test vulnerabilities that they did find have all been remediated at this point. And as you can see from my report there, we've got audits going on. We're in the midst of a business continuity audit as we speak. And other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you for that, David. I mean, every day it's in the news, and every day I think of you.
Well, thank you. That's very, unfortunate. I'm glad you're thinking of me, and it's unfortunate that all these malware attacks are happening. I maintain that the single best or most effective security measure that SDCERS employs is not accepting internal email attachments other than PDFs. So the 90+% of these malware attacks come from inbound email and people clicking on Word attachments or other attachments that contain malware, and that propagates. And we simply just don't allow those attachments other than PDF from non-allowed sources. So sources such as the City of San Diego, the port, the airport, of course, our board members are all on the allow list. Anybody else, you've got to get the approval of our staff, one of our directors, in order to get added to the whitelist. So I maintain that is the single biggest thing that we do on a security, from our security standpoint.
Wow, great. Well, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. Johnny, is there anything that you would like to share with us from your report?
No, other than a good news that everyone has turned on their Form 700s from the board. I really appreciate that, and staff, as well as our investment managers. We're just working on one amendment, but everything looks great. So thank you everyone for their efforts.
Thank you. And Ted, you went to City Council and presented the budget?
Yes, along with Greg and Marcel.
Uh-huh. Did you get some good questions?
They didn't.
I qualified that.
No questions, Bobby.
No questions? Well, great. That's great. Well, that's a good thing to have done and behind us, right?
Yes.
All right. And I think that's probably it. Are there any questions or comments from any of our board members or staff?
This is Charlie. I do have a comment. I just wanted to, in the tradition of B&G and Tanasi, I had to say something about Ted since he just spoke, because if not, I don't want him to feel left out. If we don't harass him a little bit, he won't keep up his excellent performance.
And I thought you were on my side, Charlie.
I am, but I promised Tanasi.
I thought you were going to get
off. Haunt us?
Okay, so no closed session today. No closed session report today. So I believe we are done. Is that true, Greg?
Yes.
All right.
You did a wonderful job as chair, and your meeting is completed.
All right. So we've concluded our meeting, and this meeting is adjourned. And I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Bobby.
Bye.
Thank you, Bobby.
Bye.